You think you know what mental strength is until your legs start shaking, your breath turns thin, and your brain begins bargaining like a desperate merchant. Just stop. Just ease up. No one will know. And in that moment, you realize something uncomfortable. Your mind isn't your leader. It's your loudest complainer. Shaolin training was built to expose that lie and then destroy it. You're here because you want mind-body mastery, not motivation, not hype. Mastery, the kind that shows up when your life gets heavy, when you're tired, provoked, tempted, or in pain. And before we go any further, you need to understand this. The most extreme training isn't about pain. Pain is just the doorway. The real target is control. Control over attention. Control over breath. Control over the story you tell yourself when things get hard. In Japan, there's a word that hits this directly. Evil, yunash. Say, Fudōshin, an immovable mind. Not a numb mind, not a cold mind. An immovable mind is still alive. It simply refuses to be dragged around by fear, comfort, or anger. You want that. But if you want Fudōshin, you can't build it with soft promises. You build it with friction. Here's the problem. You live in an environment designed to remove friction. The moment you feel discomfort, there's an escape hatch. A screen, a snack, a scroll, a joke, a rationalization. And you don't notice what it's doing to you because it feels like relief. But relief is training too. Every time you escape discomfort, you reinforce a hidden rule in your nervous system. I don't stay with hard things. You become a man who exits. And then you wonder why you can't focus, why your discipline collapses, why you get angry too fast, why you panic when you're behind, why you can't keep promises to yourself. It's because your mind has been taught that discomfort is an emergency. Shaolin flips that conditioning. They take discomfort and make it ordinary. So ordinary that it stops being a command. And the training methods that look extreme from the outside are extreme for one reason. They compress years of mental development into brutal honesty. They don't ask, "How do you feel?" They ask, "Can you keep your mind still while your body screams?" Let me be clear. I'm not inviting you to cosplay as a monk or to chase suffering like an addict. I'm inviting you to steal the principle, then apply it intelligently. Because you don't need a monastery to build an immovable mind. You need a system, and you need a standard. Most people approach mental training like this. They wait for a good day. Then they try to perform. That's backwards. Shaolin training assumes bad days. It assumes fatigue. It assumes distraction. It assumes pain. And it says, "Good, now we can train." The first principle is simple, and it's the one you'll resist the most. You must separate sensation from decision. Your body can be on fire, and your decision can stay calm. Your heart can race, and your attention can stay steady. Your muscles can tremble, and your posture can remain. This is where extreme practices come in, because extreme practices come in. Because extreme practices make the separation obvious. When a training posture is mild, your ego can hide. When it's intense, the mind reveals itself. It starts talking. It starts begging. It starts producing images of failure. It starts forecasting catastrophe. And if you watch closely, you'll see something shocking. Your mind is not predicting reality. It's trying to control your behavior. So imagine a novice in a low stance, thighs burning. The body is safe. Nothing is actually attacking him, but his mind creates an emergency anyway. Stop now. This is dangerous. And if he obeys, the mind learns, when I panic, he listens. That's the real injury, not the burn, the obedience. Shaolin uses long hold stances, postures, repetitive drills, because time is the blade. A hard thing held for 10 seconds is a performance. Held for 10 minutes is a negotiation. Held long enough, it becomes a mirror. Here's a shocking statistic that should embarrass you into honesty. Around 80% of people abandon new habits within the first 2 weeks. Think about that for a moment. Most people don't fail because their goal was impossible. They fail because they cannot tolerate the early discomfort long enough for identity to change. Shaolin training is basically anti-quit identity training. Now let's go deeper. The second principle is breath as a governor. When your breath gets sloppy, your mind becomes a runaway horse. When your breath becomes steady, the mind begins to accept your leadership. This is not spiritual poetry. It's physiology. Breath controls arousal. Arousal controls impulse. Impulse controls your life. So the extreme mental training isn't just endure pain. It's endure pain without breaking the breath. Endure fatigue without turning breathing into panic. This is why certain practices look insane from the outside. Repetitive strikes, conditioning drills, long runs, cold exposure, extended meditation. They are all tests of breath integrity under stress. Because if your breath breaks, your mind breaks. And if your mind breaks, your behavior becomes cheap. This brings us to the third principle. Attention is a weapon. Most people let attention leak all-day notifications, fantasies, comparisons, regret, planning, revenge. Their attention is never fully here, it's everywhere. Shaolin training forces attention into one place until it becomes sharp. A stance becomes a target. A breath becomes a target. A single point of focus becomes the entire world. Not because the world is small, but because your mind needs to learn to stop scattering. When you can command attention, you can command your mood. When you can command your mood, you can command your actions. When you can command your actions, you become dangerous in the best sense. Reliable, unshakable, not dramatic, not loud, just solid. Now I want you to walk with me through a practical Shaolin-style system you can use without wrecking your body or your schedule. This is not a fantasy. This is you, tomorrow morning, training the mind that currently runs you. First, you choose one posture. 1, not 10. You pick something safe and basic like a wall sit, a deep squat hold within your limits, a plank, or a horse stance at a height you can maintain with good form. The posture is not the point. The point is that it becomes your laboratory. It becomes the place where your mind cannot hide behind complexity. Second, you set a small time target that still makes you uncomfortable. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5, not heroic, just honest. The goal is not to win. The goal is to observe. You are going to watch the mind generate commands. You are going to feel the urge to bargain. And you are going to practice refusing the bargain. Here's the rule. You are allowed to adjust form to stay safe. You are allowed to stop if there is sharp pain, numbness, or real injury risk. But you are not allowed to stop because of emotion. That's the line. That's where mental training begins. Third, you lock breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale slow. You count the exhale if you need to. You make the exhale longer than the inhale. And you keep it steady even as the body complains. This is how you teach your nervous system. This is not an emergency. The mind will still scream, let it. The breath is your vote. Fourth, you pick one phrase, not motivational, but directive. Something like, stay, or this is training, or not today. Every time the mind starts telling stories, you're weak, this is pointless, you'll fail anyway. You return to your phrase and your breath. You don't argue. You don't debate. You don't insult yourself. You return. That return is the rep. This is where most people misunderstand mental training. They think the goal is silence. No, the goal is obedience. You don't need a quiet mind. You need a mind that follows orders. Now, let me show you what changes when you do this consistently. At first, it's physical. Legs burn. Shoulders shake, you sweat. Fine. But then something subtler happens. You begin to catch the exact moment the mind tries to exit. And once you catch it, you gain a new choice. That choice is your freedom. Because the mind's exit strategy isn't limited to training. It's the same strategy you use at work when you avoid the hard task. It's the same strategy you use in relationships when you run from an uncomfortable conversation. It's the same strategy you use with your health when you start tomorrow. You are training the root. And if you keep going, if you build this into your week, your pain tolerance changes, yes. But more importantly, your identity changes. You become someone who stays, someone who doesn't collapse the moment it gets unpleasant, someone who can feel fear and still act. This is the core of mind-body mastery, not superhuman strength, not mystical skill, simple dominance over impulse. Now, there are mistakes you will make, and because I'm Takeshi, I'm going to tell you them before you embarrass yourself. Mistake 1. You chase intensity instead of consistency. You try to do an insane session once, then disappear for a week. That's not training. That's ego theater. Shaolin mastery is built by boring repetition. You want the 10,000-hour effect? Then respect the small daily rep. Mistake 2. You numb yourself instead of training yourself. You blast music. You distract. You turn it into entertainment. That defeats the purpose. Your job is to face the sensation without running away. If you need a timer, use it. If you need silence, choose it. But don't escape the moment you're supposed to be mastering. Mistake 3. You confuse injury with discipline. Real training makes you stronger. Injury makes you weaker. If your joints hurt, if you feel sharp pain, if you lose sensation, stop, adjust, regress. Discipline is not stupidity. The goal is to build a mind that can command a healthy body, not a broken one. Mistake 4. You make it spiritual performance. You start talking like a monk without doing the work like a monk. I don't care what you believe. I care what you can do when you're uncomfortable. Your breath, your posture, your focus. That's real. Now here's the challenge. And this is where your life actually changes if you don't lie to yourself. For the next 7 days, you will do one immovable mind practice every day. Same time if possible. Morning is best because your willpower hasn't been drained by the world. Choose one posture and keep it the same all week. Day 1, set the timer for 2 minutes. Day 2, 2 minutes again. Day 3, add 30 seconds. Keep adding 30 seconds every other day until the week ends. During the hold, your only job is this. Keep the breath slow, keep the eyes steady, and when the mind says stop, you don't stop, you return. Again, and again, and again. After each session, you write one sentence. 1. What excuse did my mind use today? That's it. Because once you can name the excuse, you can stop worshiping it. And the specific action, step right now, before you move on with your day, is simple. Open your calendar and schedule a 5-minute slot for tomorrow morning labeled Fudōshin. Not workout, not motivation. Fudōshin. Then choose your posture tonight so you don't negotiate with yourself in the morning. If you do this for 7 days, you'll start noticing something. Not in the mirror, in your reactions. You'll hesitate before you quit. You'll breathe before you snap. You'll stay with the hard thing a little longer. That little longer is where your future is hiding. Now tell me, when discomfort hits you, what does your mind usually say to make you leave?